Donald Trump has continued his successful cabinet confirmation role. Tulsi Gabbard has been officially approved by the Senate to become Trump's Director of National Intelligence. Now, the vote was 52 to 48. Former GOP Senate leader Mitch McConnell opposed Tulsi Gabbard. But, Brianna, Tulsi was one of the ones where there was a bit of concern about whether or not she would actually get through, but now she is. And I suspect, just like what we're seeing with Doge, we're going to get more transparency with Tulsi in.
Absolutely, and that's exactly why Democrats and certain Republicans, who should be referred to as rhinos, opposed her nomination and her being appointed. Look, Tulsi Gabbard is someone who is a Democrat. She is not some hardcore Republican. She is an American, though. She served this country honorably. She has worked to try and make sure this country doesn't slip down the slippery slope. And instead of being rewarded, she was put on a no-fly list, right? The Biden administration was targeting her. And so the reason Democrats are worried is because she is now in charge of the people who tried to blacklist her.
I want to talk to you about this deportation effort. Border Czar Tom Homan has confirmed that the FBI leaked critical details about planned immigration raids, saying that the agency is putting officers' lives at risk by doing this. Now, Homan said that the leaks are being investigated and authorities are quite certain that the leaks are coming from inside the FBI. Here he is.
We think it's coming from inside, and we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person. Under investigation right now. The California leak, Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI.
You know, it's unbelievable that there are concerns that people within the FBI are tipping off illegal gangs to keep them safe and put officers' lives at risk.
You know, Donald Trump has been receiving a lot of slack recently because he's trying to reduce the federal workforce. And one of the things he explains is that he wants people within the executive branch who are on his side, right, who want to have the same agenda and the same mission. This just underscores why that is so desperately needed, because you have people within these agencies, these unelected officials, actively conspiring not only against Donald Trump, but against the mandate that the American people gave on November 5th. And it is very dangerous to forewarn gang members that law-abiding Americans who are doing their job trying to remove these criminals are on their way. That is going to lead to mass chaos someday soon if Donald Trump doesn't get a handle on it. But Tom Homan and Donald Trump seem like they're handling this.
Absolutely. Let's talk about JD Vance. The Vice President spoke brilliantly at the AI Action Summit in Paris, where he said that US artificial intelligence, AI systems, must not become tainted with ideological bias. That is such an important point. But just to remind everyone about how different our worlds would be right now if JD Vance was not America's Vice President and the US had Kamala Harris in charge. Let's just take a look at what Kamala Harris had to say about AI and what JD Vance has had to say and just compare the difference.
The U.S. possesses all components across the full AI stack, including advanced semiconductor design, frontier algorithms, and of course, transformational applications.
AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence.
You know, it's important to kind of go back and watch how different the world would be if Kamala Harris won. It's unbelievable going back and watching those clips, and she just doesn't make any sense.
It's such a contrast of competency between the two administrations. And what's really important is that JD Vance is able to understand the problems facing America, especially AI, and whether or not European adversaries and even allies have their own grip on this. And I will make one note about AI in general. Robert Conquest, he had 3 laws. His second law is that any organization that is not explicitly right-wing will soon become left-wing. And I think AI, there is a risk that if we don't make sure that the left-wing cohort that has operated so many organizations and so many neutral sources, if they get control of that, AI becomes an extremely dangerous tool in America. So it's important Donald Trump and JD Vance take the stance they're taking, which is we want to encourage AI, but we want to make sure it's being done in a way that's not going to harm half of America if it gets under the grips of the left.
Absolutely. Brianna Lyman, elections correspondent at The Federalist, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour.
Thanks for having me.